Hi, I'm John Potoshnik. I haven't created a YouTube video in quite some time, so I thought I'd do another one for you. This will be a series of videos. I'm going to take you through a painting that is a commissioned painting. It's only 11 by 14, so I thought I could, it's not a larger piece. So I thought it'd be easier maybe to show this painting because I can show you the process from start to finish in a shorter period of time. It's of a house that the people own that have commissioned me to do this painting, and I will take you through the step-by-step. Some of the images on this video will be still shots, and others will be as I'm actually working. So I want to show you a couple of things in the preparation for this painting, and I'm going to zoom in on the painting itself and show you where I am at this point. This is an old historic home that the people are very proud of and have commissioned me to do a painting of it. As you can see, a couple of things I wanted to show you and talk about before I move into the actual drawing of it. Along the outside here, I have marked off 1/4 of an inch border all the way around, and I do that on all my small paintings because a lot of times the frame is not taken into consideration, and when it's a small painting you're cutting in roughly 1/4 of an inch off each side of that painting, and it can significantly alter the composition of a small painting. And so whenever I'm doing a small painting, I create or mark off 1/4 of an inch all the way around it, and then make sure that my image, the painting itself, is within those dimensions. Also, I have drawn this off using Vine charcoal. It's a complicated drawing, and it took me some time to do it. I started with some photographs on location, and then and I'll show you this whole process through this introduction as I get going into this painting. But then I printed off a black and white version in my computer and then put a grid over that, and so I used a grid system to actually draw this off onto this canvas here. And so I use Vine charcoal because it is forgiving, but it also it's easy to rub out, in other words, what I want to say. So if the drawing is not exactly right, and I had to rub it out a few times in order to make sure that everything was drawn correctly and in its right place and right relationship to one another. So using Vine charcoal is a great help in doing that, particularly on complicated stuff. A lot of times on my regular paintings, if they're not as complicated as this architectural structure, which needed to be accurate since it's a portrait of these people's home, in most cases I'll just draw off with using a brush and a raw umber or something like that, and draw off my subject and then start blocking it in. But in this case, because the drawing had to be accurate, I drew it off first in Vine charcoal. I also want to mention that before I ever got to this point, I submitted a small study to the client, and I'll show you that also in this section of the video, which they approved and were very excited about. So that gave me the composition, the color scheme, everything for this enlarged version, which is, again, I said 11 by 14. So my next step now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly dust, just brush over very lightly with a paper towel to lift off some of the darkness of this drawing, which will leave a ghost image. And then I'm going to go back in with raw umber and a small brush and redraw this whole thing over the lines that are already created here. And then from that point, I will block in my shadows, and that will be the next video for you. So I hope you're going to enjoy this series, and you'll get to see this whole painting from start to finish, all the way to the final stroke. And I think it'll be helpful to you, and I hope you enjoy it. So thanks for joining me.